This is the Super Saturday Rugby Update with Jeremy Harris.
Okay, brother man in studio, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for taking time out from what is a hectic schedule, and welcome to Super Saturday.
Thank you. Back full circle at heart. What a time!
Exactly.
I must say that little build up to the show got me going a bit. It's quality.
Yeah, a little bit of intense,
bit of a goosebumps,
bit of goosebumps moment there. Listen, I mean, the cliche, what a ride, probably doesn't apply to anybody more than it applies to you. Yeah. I mean, how are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm feeling sharp. It's been a change of scenery and personnel being with the Springboks, but yes, it's been a nice switch up and a life-changing, crazy experience that I can't wait to get more of if they give me the opportunity.
Well, look, I think that they're going to give you quite a few opportunities. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, that's the if I read the body language from the coaching desk when I watch them, I think they're going to give you plenty of opportunities. I want to start with the question, the obvious question, because we've had people send us messages on the WhatsApp line to ask about, but now you're a talented rugby player, you're a talented ball player, I beg your pardon. Talented ball player. Was it always rugby?
It wasn't always rugby. There was football in the mix, and I think that actually contributed towards my rugby game and the balling aspect.
Yeah.
But I was a keen footballer. My dad, obviously, a huge football fan, so that was rubbing off on me. But when you're immersed in that southern suburbs rugby kind of culture, it takes over, and then that's when I knew it. That's what I wanted to do, man.
Listen, I want to talk just a quick moment about your dad, because as you say, he's a mad football supporter, and he and I will have heated conversations about the fact that he and I support different football teams. We're not going to get into that at all. But I mean, we are going to talk about your emotions when you ran out into the park. But I mean, was he in pieces? Because I told him he was going to be. I told him he was going to be crying like a 4-year-old choir boy. And was he?
Yeah, I think he was. I couldn't see him from the stands. He was in the grandstand. Yeah. I was trying to find him during the national anthem. But then I got deep by it myself and started getting a bit emotional. What my mates from Cape Town told me afterwards, that he was bawling.
He was. I'm telling you, he must have been crying. I love that.
He was crying, man.
No, but it's such a proud moment, and I mean, you'll forgive me, Sacha, but I mean, you know, we claim you.
Yeah,
you know,
rightfully so.
We claim you, and so not that we don't, you know, want to have a piece of all 23 players or all 33 members in the squad or all 42, whatever it is, but we claim you. So I mean, you'll forgive us for doing that from time to time.
No problem. This is my second home.
Exactly. What did it feel like? So I'm going to run through a little bit of a once upon a time. Yeah. So the once upon a time starts with, how's it? Can you come to an alignment camp?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I wonder if that's even fair, because I mean, I know you played under 20 rugby, and you captained the under 20 box very successfully.
Yes.
So pause the question about the alignment camps. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the under 20s and that experience, because there, you know, not for the first time, but there was a Springbok on your chest.
Yeah, that was amazing. We played 2021. We had a little internal quadrangular series. We had Argentina, Georgia, Uruguay, and ourselves. Yeah, and we won that at Newlands, which was nice. And then 2022, obviously, captained the junior box to a victory in Italy, which was also crazy. That was my first time, you know, singing the national anthem properly, and feeling like I was a good part of the group.
Did you sing the national anthem? Because I can get to a point and then I'm sorry, I'll come back to you a bit later.
No, I'm there. All the bars, man. Sometimes the only time I stop is if I need to think about what's really going on, or if the emotions take over. But otherwise, I'll sing that thing as loud as I can.
And so that was under 20 experience. Yes. I mean, and you got a sense of, wow, all of a sudden this is starting to become a little bit more real.
Yeah, the Springboks were watching our games. Our games were being televised properly, and it built up some hype around the country, and it kind of gave you a sense of how big it is to play for your country, whether it's at a younger level or older level. So that was a proper eye-opener, man, and I think a lot of guys from that experience know that this is what they want to do going forward, and it serves as a great motivation.
Yeah. So now let's pick up the question about the alignment camps. So now you've got a taste of it. You're starting to feel the bristle. You're starting to feel there's a chance. And I'm quite liking this whole Springbok on my chest kind of a thing. Then you get the call, come to the alignment camps. So pick up from there. Tell me.
That was we went to the first alignment camp. I'd just gotten injured. We had just played the Bulls in the North-South game, and I'd just gotten injured, but obviously I couldn't miss that for anything. So I got to the lineman camp, and that was already an eye-opener. The level of detail, the instructions, the timing of when and where you have to be at certain times in certain kits. It was very professional and something I enjoyed, So getting the call back after that to go to the lineman after the quarterfinal against Glasgow and Scotland, that was again, geez, I couldn't have been happy to see my phone buzz for that. And I knew shucks, man, there could be a fine journey on the way here. So the selections and stuff, I wasn't thinking about it that time. I was just thinking about being in the setup, but it's all kind of played out nicely, hasn't it?
So then, we're going to fast forward past a few conversations, but then you're in the match day 23 for the Wales test at Twickenham.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, I wasn't there, but 80,000 people?
Yeah, it was packed.
I mean, it was packed. Full house, eh?
That was the first kind of goosebumps moment. We walked from a hotel into the stadium because we were staying right there.
Yeah.
And the amount of people running with their phones and their cameras and whatever they may do, whatever, it was just like, gee whiz.
So step up. Just before you did that, 48 hours earlier, there's maybe even 72 hours earlier, there's training, there's a conversation that goes, listen, you're in the match day 23.
Yeah.
When was that?
Monday's when it usually happens. You kind of get a feel for where you're going to play, and then the whole week these coaches prime you and get you mentally ready and physically ready, and those conversations always take part early in the week. So by the time you get to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, your downtime or your short weekend as we call it, rugby's the last thing on your mind. You're resting your body, getting your recovery in, and when Saturday comes, you're recharged and ready to go.
Absolutely. So there we go. You've had the conversation, you've had the moment of, oh my goodness, this is possibly going to happen. I'm going to be player number 23. Was it 23 on the jersey? 23 on the jersey. And my first full Springbok cap is potentially just a nudge in the back from Rassie away. I mean, that's basically what it came down to.
It's crazy. It can happen so fast, man. And you're sitting there, and the interesting thing about being on the bench is you can't fully get yourself into the game because you don't want to burn out by the end of the game being too focused.
Yeah.
So being able to get the tap on the back to go on the field and mentally switch on straight away is one thing in itself. But yes, Coach Rassie's a guy that you want to get a tap on the back from to go on the field. I'll say that.
Exactly. So I'm going to play this one out because that Wales test was this important test because I think it's fair to say everybody was nervous. You were nervous?
Yeah, sort of.
and I did notice that when they were singing the national anthems, they did cut across from where they did get to you, and you also looked like you were having the emotions get a hold of you.
That national anthem is something different, man.
It's different, eh?
Because you think about obviously all the people in your family and on the smaller scale that have worked towards this, but then there's the broader scale of thousands of players, and I was 937, so since 1890 only 937 Springboks. So that in itself is a mind-boggling fact. And when you stand on the field and sing the anthem and you deep that you're one of those less than 1,000, it hits home. It hits home.
Listen, before we continue the story, because there's many sort of pages to the story that we're telling once upon a time, you mentioned the family, and there's a question as well in terms of talk to us about the support. So again on our WhatsApp line, people are talking about, tell us about the support from friends, from family, from John Dobson at the DHL Stormers. Talk to us about that. So it's a little bit like going back in time. It feels like a mini series this, but it's like we go back in time just to make us understand, the journey, the road that you walked.
Yeah, but this has been a long journey, and there's been people since under 9, under 10 rugby who have believed that this would happen. So getting here was one thing, but like you said, the support facility around me has just been incredible, and I feel like it's allowed me to play my game a bit better, especially over the last month or so. Just knowing that there's people at home who back me and care about me, and genuinely want the best for me. I've seen I've spoken to family members that I haven't spoken to in a while, and it's been like when you talk about rugby bringing people together just on a smaller scale within my family, I mean, it's been amazing. Everyone's sort of, the camaraderie is back, everyone's, together, and I can't imagine what it does outside of my family and for the rest of the country to see these Springbok warriors run out and bring people together. It's been crazy, man. To be part of it, insane. And I seriously wants to be a shout out to all my coaches from school, Wes Chetty, Nick Room, or everyone. Thank you very much.
I love that. That is a goosebump moment right there. Okay, so now hold on a second. We aren't yet on the field. I mean, the other Oaks are playing, but you're watching. It's Wales against the Springboks at Twickenham, and it is just jam-packed. They probably sold more beers there than they do at Oktoberfest, let me tell you now. It was a massive occasion. But then you get the tap.
Yes.
Sacha, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was incredible, that.
Did you make a small poop?
Nah, I hold my breath, if anything. No, I'm reading a book called Relentless at the moment by Tim Grover, and it speaks about athletes getting into the zone and finding your way into the zone. And I must say that first game was the most in the zone I think I've felt, and I'm sure the other debutants, because that's your everything. It's fight or flight at that point. And getting the tap, you'd think you'd feel nervous, but you feel, I would say I felt calm and I'm ready to go perform. You kind of block out the crowd and all that. You're just in this, in the zone. And like I said, it was, like I said, crazy experience, and definitely not pooping my pants.
That's okay. I pooped for you. So let's then get onto the park. We're on the park.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. And I'm a big observer. I don't know if this is me on my own. I'm a big observer of body language. I love doing that in sport, because I enjoy watching sports. I love to be able to see, how people run onto a field, or how they talk to one of their teammates, or they are sort of lining up a kick, whatever it is, or they're taking a position in the field. I love to watch body language. And as you say, you felt calm, and that's exactly what I was going to ask you about, because my observation was that you seemed completely at home. Completely, they were ready for you. Your teammates were ready for you, and I mean, so how? These are the players that just months before, maybe years before, you'd been watching, and going, gosh, I'd love to play with them maybe.
Sure.
And now they're making space for you in the back line, or they're doing something for you, or they're having a conversation. I don't know what the moves were called, but I mean, there you are at the very pinnacle of rugby as a sport, at in the top ranked rugby team in the world.
Nuts. When you say it, you say it and I hear it, it sounds even crazier. But the amount of, visualizing and manifesting that I put into this, I think that's where the sense of calmness comes from also, because you feel like you've maybe been there before, or this is all part of a bigger plan. And to be rubbing shoulders with those guys, like you said, the guys we were all supporting at the World Cup, to be rubbing shoulders with them and playing with them, and ultimately trying to hold my weight with them is one incredible thing in itself. But now to be kind of getting into the Springbok family on a deeper level, and I've got 4 caps now under the belt, and hopefully more to come. But it's a crazy journey that started, man. And like you're saying, these were guys put on a pedestal not so long ago for me and to the general public. So now that I'm with them, I can't be more grateful.
Yeah. So I mean, those 4 caps came quickly, because it felt to me like there was a long time. I mean, you're 22?
22, yeah.
So it felt to me like, even though you're 22, it felt to me like there was a long waiting period to get to cap number 1. But the next 3 caps have come quickly. It felt like that to me. I don't know, and I mean, my hope is that the next 44, the next 94 caps come as quickly too.
Yeah, man. Me too. There's a good amount of games in the Springbok calendar year, so if you can stay fit, sharp, and healthy, at your best, then there's a good chance you can play. And like you said, those caps can accumulate quickly. It's I think 4 and 5 or 6 weeks, which I could have never fathomed. I promise you that much. But taking it one game at a time, one day at a time, and making your days count, I think that sets you up nicely. And then when these opportunities come, it's easier to grab at them and have more, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, hold on. Now we're on the field. It's going to take me. I'll eventually get there. We're on the field. This is Wales. This is my debut test, okay? There is... I can't actually remember the infringement, come to think of it.
What, for the penalty?
For the penalty, what was it?
It was not rolling away penalty.
Not rolling away penalty. Okay, so... But, I mean, it was very much in our half of the field. Yeah. And it's not like we were playing in Johannesburg at altitude where you can kick a ball, 95 meters. Yeah. We were playing at Twickenham. It wasn't the warmest day in the world either. Yeah. And you stepped up. Did you go, or did somebody say, hey, Sacha, you want to have a go?
No, actually, I turned around to Bongi and I said, please, can I have the ball? And Bongi's like, bro, I'm not the captain. Speak to Peter Steff. So I knew I wanted that kick. It was needed on the scoreboard too. It was scoreboard pressure. It was 11 points up. So that kick would take us to now two tries, converted tries, which is a level of comfort. Sorry. So yeah, I had to ask Peter Steff for that ball, and again he trusted me, which was incredible. I haven't played with the guy, and he trusted me and he gave me the ball and he told me to kick it, and they all followed suit. They backed the call, which is just also incredible. A guy on his debut, it's a bit of a shaky call sometimes to some people, but everyone sort of bought into the situation and helped me get the best result.
And so just so that we can have this sort of minuted and it's cast in stone, this was your call. You went to the skip and said to him, I can slot this for you.
No, that was my call, man, Jeremy. That was my call. But it's one thing calling it, and then the other thing, your call being listened to and then backed. That's one thing in itself. So half the job was my call, but for him to give me the ball on my debut, I give him more credit than myself.
Listen, and of course you slotted it with plenty to spare. I think they took it past the dead ball line. And I mean, that must have given you so much confidence for the rest of the game.
I kicked that ball, I kicked it, and I just remember just standing in like a squat position, just hoping this thing went over. And I was thinking, this ball's not slowing down, it's flying.
It's flying, man.
This ball's flying, and it flew and it flew and it flew, and felt really good, I'll tell you that much. But then again, it's test rugby, on to the next job. Yeah. Can't get stuck in that moment for too long. Got to go to the next job, make the next play, and keep it moving. But incredible moments, I promise you.
There are a couple of things I want to talk about is, so subsequent to that, Ireland ×2, Portugal ×1, and lots of different playing environments, different stadiums, obviously, different positions, different people that you played against, other than for Ireland. There's some people that was similar to you. But I want to know about the noise, because that is the one thing that players talk about. Even when we're talking franchise rugby, the guys are going, you won't believe the noise at the Cape Town, at the DHL Stadium, when it's a full house there. I can't hear the oak next to me talk. I mean, is it like that?
It's loud, eh? The national anthem's the loudest part. Promise you that. And then in the game, obviously, it's heat of the moment, so your ears aren't... Obviously, you block out the crowd noise, but it becomes white noise. So communicating on the field, like you said, is pretty tough. But some guys are so focused on top of the noise that you just can't get hold of them, especially the scrum cap boys. Kurt, shout out, and Chesden. But obviously now it must go through another layer for them to hear. So yeah, it is loud, but the Springbok guys will find ways around that with calls, whether it be with their hands or whatever. So they're smart like that. But yes, it's loud, I promise you.
No, I mean, as a spectator, as an observer, it's loud. I can only imagine what it must be like, because the noise is being directed at you. So that's the one bit of noise, but then it's the conversation on the field.
Yes.
With the team.
Yes.
I mean, talk to us about, and again, I don't need to know the scrum calls. I don't need to know the line-out calls. I don't know, but I mean, just the kinds of conversation. What is it that you're actually talking about?
We're making plans on the go. We're finding solutions. We're fixing problems. And we're just discussing each other's opinions on certain things. Rugby can be kind of misunderstood at times. Like I spoke to couple of friends of mine, female friends, and they kind of don't understand that there can be a technical element to the game and an analysis element, because it just looks like big guys running into each other. But the level of detail and planning that we do, and then have to think on our feet on the field, it's next level, especially at Test rugby. And then you've got your Handré Pollard, your Jesse Creels, your Damon Delaney, these guys who have seen it all, and you can just hear by the way they communicate that yes, they know how to fix a problem or make a plan on their own. So that's what we're talking about, and 95% of the time we make solutions, I'm sure.
Okay, so now we've got Rugby Championship coming up.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, have I covered off everything around Ireland? I mean, Portugal was an experience.
Yeah.
But I specifically wanted to talk to you about Ireland, and specifically that second test, where Willie got a nasty knock, and thank goodness he's fine. But you were not expecting that, I can promise you.
Not at all.
Hey, second minute, how's it? Can you go to the field now?
It was like I was right back at the DHL Stadium. That's how I made my debut for the Stormers. Yes. Quarterfinal, second minute, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. But I was extremely excited. It was nerve-wracking, but I mean, it's so much excitement at the same time. You're playing against one of the best teams in the world, guys that have been around the block, Conor Murray's, Peter O'Mahony, all these big names, and you get thrown into the pool and see what you can do, man. I felt really sorry for Willie though, because he had steered the ship so nicely in that first test. But on the other hand, man, it's a physical game we play. So when the call comes, you got to be ready. And 2 minutes, nuts, but I was ready.
And just talk. I mean, you mentioned you give Ireland the credit that they rightly deserve. An absolute top draw team, I mean, it's not to say that you haven't played against other top teams and other top players, but I mean, there is the number 2 team in the world. They're challenging us for number 1. They've got every right to put their hand up. I mean, what was that intensity like?
Yeah, man, the whole week we kind of dissected how good of a rugby team they are. They're a proper, like, professional bunch of learners and like students of the game, where they'll find the technical ways to kind of get around your physicality. So that speaks volumes about them. They're deep in this game, man, and they want this game like we do. So to come up against opposition who are seen in the same light essentially, and have to kind of showcase what you're made of, I think it doesn't get a better stage than that. So playing against those guys, I mean, if that's my second or third test, that experience that I've gained there is what guys, dream of down the line. So to get that in early and make a couple of mistakes early, it was a good experience. It was a good experience.
It looked like you had a great time, because in and amongst, there's me watching body language, in and amongst all of that, you were completely at home. It wasn't like you were deer in the headlights. It seemed to me like you were comfortable doing what you were doing.
It was one of those. But I promise you, it's because the guys around me, these double champs, man.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by like top players like that, you can't not feel a sense of comfort. It's not a bunch of young guys all kind of losing their heads. I'm the only guy who's not come on, and I'm with 14 other double World Cup champs.
Yeah.
So you get to feel at home in that environment, and I must say it's testament to those guys taking the flag forward now for 2 World Cups. And then it just makes it easier for guys like me to come in, because they know their stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Rugby Championship coming. We've got the Wallabies twice. We've got the All Blacks at home twice. We've got the Pumas, who are no mugs either. They will scrum a brick wall, right? A hole right through that brick wall. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some hard rugby coming. Yeah. Talk to us about your excitement levels, your thoughts around Rugby Championship. I mean, I know that you're going to say I'm going to take one game at a time, etc., etc. But I mean, you're going to play now teams you've never played at that level before. How do you feel? I'm
extremely excited. I know that I'm not necessarily guaranteed on that match day 23, so I'm just happy to take in everything. But if those squad selections come, man, against those top teams that we've all been watching for years, who I've been waking up early to watch play Super Rugby and all that type of stuff, that's another dream come true. And then you've banked Ireland, All Blacks, Australia, these top tier nations. It really sets you up nicely, I think. So I can't be more excited for that. Get to travel the world with the Springboks is one thing in itself, but to play for your country in another country and defend your flag. That's extremely exciting for me.
So Sacha, let me ask you this. I mean, you're saying, if I'm going to be in the match day squad, and I guess that's a fair question because you take nothing for granted.
Yeah.
But your versatility in terms of 10, you could play 12 or 13.
Yeah, looking at 13 as
13.
well.
You can play 15.
Yeah.
So there's a versatility to you that I'm trying to think, not to be unkind, but I don't see that kind of versatility on the bench at the moment. For example, somebody like Grant Williams could probably play 9 and 11 or 14. Yes. But I mean, there's a nice spread that you give a bench and you give Rassie in terms of his options.
Yep, it's a favourable kind of. It was frowned upon for a while, being like jack of all trades. Yeah. But modern day game of rugby, I mean, you've got to be able to cover multiple positions and key positions, 10, 12, 15, even 13 in charge of defence. Those are the ones you want to kind of have nailed down. So I'm glad I can sort of characteristically fit those positions, and we'll have to see what happens with them. But as long as I keep getting backed by the coaches that I can play these positions, then there's less doubt in my head, and then I can really kind of make use of that versatility, I think. So I'm hoping it puts me in good stead. But we'll see what happens. I hope that's something that gets me into the 23 for the next bit of time. I
certainly hope so too. I've got no doubt that you are going to be an absolute sensation. Does it feel when people say that to you?
How does it feel? It's weird, man. It's also weird. It's because, obviously the Stormers was a thing. Yeah. But the way it's just exploded, and like those type of comments now since the Springboks, just listening to it is, it's weird to hear, because you obviously wake up, look yourself in the mirror every day and nothing really changes.
It's the same up.
But in the outside world, there's a whole bunch of things happening. So it's nice to hear, man. It's good for the heart, good for the soul, I guess.
Well, look, I guess that to your point of, there's been a lot of, I'm sure, actual blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah.
But there's you talk about the cliche of blood, sweat and tears, the sacrifice that's been made from your side, from your family side, from your close friends side. I feel like there's a lot of sort of deserving reward that is now coming your way.
Yeah, this is a lot of people's journey, but I must just say, for myself, I've broken both my thumbs, I've broken my wrist, broken my elbow, broke my ankle, knocked my teeth back, I've broken my hand. It's just so many things that were always these speed bumps in the way to me, like ultimately trying to have a journey going forward. There were so many blocks, man, and speed bumps that my whole family had to kind of suffer with me, whether it was my dad taking me to the hospital or my mom hearing me on the phone. So that for me just makes it just that one bit more special, because it hasn't been easy, right? I promise you that. I've been injured so many times. So kind of it's not the final destination, because I want a lot more. I want to win silverware. I want to play lots of caps for the Springboks. But getting to the kind of the epitome of rugby after all those little speed bumps, which at the time were, life-changing, thinking, what's going to happen now? It's been incredible. And like you said, my family and my friends have been the ones next to me through this whole journey of ups and downs. So it's a widespread joy kind of feeling, man. I'm glad everyone gets a slice of the cake. It's a feel it.
No, as I said, look, we claim you. And so we also will, give off the blood, sweat and tears, yes. Mostly just tears. But we claim you, and we want to wish you just every success.
Thank you.
I must tell you that, there's a special relationship, as you say, with the team here at Heart FM. But there's a sort of a broad family claim that we have against you.
Yeah.
And we know that you're comfortable with that.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. I love this place. It's so nice. I was here, I was young. I was doing more voice recordings on these mics, and now we're sitting here doing interviews after playing for the Springboks. Springboks. It's full circle.
No, it's madness, pal.
And everyone in here deserves to feel that type of way, man. Everyone's contributed, and I'm so extremely grateful. Thank you.
So listen, there we go. I called him a sensation. I think I'm not wrong. Springbok rugby sensation Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu in studio with us on Super Saturday. It's the world's longest interview I've just done. But it's a chat. Hey, we had a chat.
No, it's a great chat.
I loved it. We had a chat. There were a couple of questions, but mostly we were just catching up because we haven't had a chance to do that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything, and thank you for giving us joy when we watch our rugby. I wanted to ask you one thing before I say goodbye to you. I know it's got nothing to do with you, but the Olympics underway at the moment, the Blitzboks. Just once again, a massive shout out.
Crazy guys.
These oaks do not know when they need to leave a place. They do not know when they need to leave. They want to stay there.
We were speaking about it. That defense on the front, on the try line. You could see they don't want to leave France anytime soon. So respect, boys.
They are there to stay. But I mean, just from a fellow rugby player, but I mean, you in this case, you're a rugby fan, just like all of us.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, they wear the green and gold just like you do. Yeah. I mean, big props to them.
Big props, man. I think sevens rugby's underappreciated. It's 14 guys covering a full-size rugby field. The conditioning, the mental toughness, the grit those guys have to show. You can't tap out and you can't hide anywhere on a sevens field. So I played sevens under 18 SA sevens, and I really thought, this isn't for me. You know? It's different gravy, man. So a huge shout out. That's a proper rugby. That's determined, relentless rugby. And if they go on and win their medals, well done, guys.
All good, all love to them. And that was a question, by the way, off our WhatsApp line. Somebody was asking about what your thoughts about the Blitzboks fighting back. That's the way that South African rugby players work, guys. Yes. Sorry, just to let you know, particularly if you're wearing a black jersey and you're coming to us in a few months' time. Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, thank you, brother. Thank you so much for your time. All strength to you. Know that I will cry with you when we sing the national anthem for those Rugby Championship games. And as is the norm on this show, I want to wish you a Super Saturday.
Thank you very much, and to you.
You are listening to Super Saturday with Jeremy Harris.